So, just basically would like to introduce you to Denise in Canada. She's all the way over in Canada. She's doing a lot of great work with her videos. She's spreading a lot of important messages out there and doing some great work. And without further ado, here is Denise in Canada. How are you doing, Denise?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks for not waking up too early, right?
No, it's because of the time difference. Obviously,
Yeah.
what time is it over there at the moment?
Now it's 10 o'clock, so that's fine.
It's still pretty early in the morning then for you.
Yeah, I was figuring
Yeah,
I'm not really a morning person and need another 12 cups of coffee.
Yeah, I'm
You're
the
going to
same.
get very low-key, Denise, right now.
Yeah, well, I'm the same. I like a few cups of tea or coffee to sort of like get me started in the
To get
morning. So
going.
you're probably the same.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So you've also, because I mentioned about your videos, you've got your YouTube channel. What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's Denise in Canada. I tried to keep that name everywhere on all my social media. I'm on BitChute, Rumble, Vimeo I pay for just as a backup in case YouTube decided to delete all my videos, right? Because they've been known to do that, so I thought I'd pay for that service. Rumble, yeah, what else am I on? I was on YouTube for a while, and it wasn't uploading properly. So, yeah, try and put it everywhere. And Twitter, of course, too.
Oh,
And now
fantastic.
Instagram, actually. I started Instagram, and I'm starting to get some followers there and some views.
It's all good stuff because obviously, when you're putting certain messages out there, it can be very difficult on a lot of these platforms,
Yeah,
to,
it's like gone downhill as my videos got better. My views went down. That doesn't make sense. I must be hitting a nerve. But in Canada, if you're criticizing the government, I think they shut those down. Plus, I'm on a United Nations list or some sort of list that we found as problematic. So I think that didn't help. It drew attention to it, even though my following and that isn't as high as some of the other people. I guess they just decided to, yeah, point me out.
so basically you're probably telling too much truth and they don't like it.
Yeah, or on their list they call me a conspiracy theorist, but oh well, yeah, they call everybody that,
Yeah,
right?
all the names and, when you sort of like stop exposing corruption and evil,
Yeah,
you can tend to get shut down and censored quite a bit. So hopefully this video is going to remain intact and we can hopefully get it out there and sort of like let people know what you're doing because you've got
yeah.
a Telegram channel as well.
Right, yes, I just remember Telegram. I'm on so many that when I start uploading the latest video that I make, I'm like, did I remember everything? I need to actually make an official list now.
Yeah.
Because you get different viewers on different channels. I just figured might as well quickly upload so you can do other things while they're uploading. And I haven't kept exact track, but I must be close to 300 videos now. Most of them
Oh
were
wow.
the old Twitter length of 2 minutes 19. And so every time I had a day off, I'd be like, okay, this is my goal to get a 2 minute 19 video done. I'd wake up in the morning, start with a script. By the end of the day, I had a new video ready to go without me on screen. So this is new, me being on screen and showing my face. We thought we would change it up.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's quite brave as well to put your face out there.
More so
But it,
now. Yeah.
mm, but yeah, no, that's very very brave of you, I think. To make that step forward. But it is, you sort of like get your personality out there a bit more as well, and let people know that you're a real person,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
which which is always a good thing to do, I think.
Well, I can't
Um,
criticize others of being cowards if I'm hiding in the background, right? So I was like, oh, well, here we go. But when they're shutting down bank accounts and now starting to do that in Europe, um, you're really counting the cost of that decision and throwing people in jail for protesting. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's important though that more of us sort of like get our faces out there, you know, and start speaking out. That's my personal belief. You know,
Yeah.
it's about more of us actually raising our heads above the parapet and actually speaking out.
Yeah, and you can't, like, I guess one of my criticisms with the truckers convoy, it was wonderful, but why did they let Tamara just stand there alone, right? And she was thrown into jail. I think if more Canadians had come and everyone had surrounded her, okay, throw us all in jail at the same time, right? So I think if we stick together a little bit more, it'll be helpful.
Yeah.
Rather than one sacrificial lamb, and that's happened in Britain as well, with certain people being thrown in jail. So,
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you can see that, but I think, like you say, you know, it is a numbers game. You know, if everybody or, you know, thousands of people are sort of like making noise and speaking out, they can't arrest everybody, can they? So it is important. That's why I'm saying, you know, it's important that we do make a stand, and I think that, you know, that the time is now, sort of thing, that we all sort of like rally together and, you know, in unity and start speaking out.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you about, because I've not really discussed it with you before, but on your Telegram channel you talk about CB radios quite a bit, and I found that quite interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So I have two Telegram channels. One is more for chatting about anything, and one is specifically dedicated to an emergency network. Because if things get worse, I expect things get worse. I mean, there's a lot of debate about that. Some people expect it will get better very quickly, but I'm expecting it to get worse in any way. Maybe lots of bank accounts are shut down. Maybe they're shutting down more of the internet. So how will people be communicating if things are going wrong? If at the truckers convoy, there were police that showed up with no markings on them. They were all just in black. So or were these Canadians? Who were these people? They basically had license to do whatever they want. So getting communication out to other Canadians, if the internet is shut down, if the power grid goes down, if there is a World War III, I mean, a lot of people are talking about that too. So whether it's government, whether it's a war, I thought to start this communications network on CB radio, because it's not, you don't even have to rely on power. You could just hook it up to your car battery and you're still able to reach out to anyone there. So yeah, and we have over 1,000 members now. Not everyone has a CB radio yet. You know, I think sometimes it is a financial burden for some to get that set up, even though it's not too expensive and it's a pretty simple process. But maybe some just don't realize the urgency and how important this will be to have for us to communicate.
So do you feel we've really got to get a backup plan for if the situation does deteriorate? You know, is that sort of like the idea? Entirely.
And you know what reinforced this idea was during the lockdowns in Australia, there was videos of people saying, oh no, they're going to this rural area, all the officials are going to go in and force jab everybody. And I'm like, well, this isn't good. If they shut down the internet in a certain section, even if they did it in my small town, how am I supposed to get any message to you, or, you know, to the next biggest city, or to anyone else on social media that something is going down in this town? You know, I could record it, but I can't live stream it as it's happening. By the time it's all said and done, and if I got the recording out, now it's too late. It's already happened, whatever has happened. You know, and a lot of people will think that's crazy, I'm thinking too negative. Well, I better to be prepared for any eventuality.
100%, definitely. I think, you know, when you look at censorship and how they're trying to break down communication, I'm actually thinking, you know, this does sound like a good idea, so that people have got a backup system there. So with a CB radio, what sort of range would you be sort of like broadcasting out to?
So yesterday was interesting because I don't often just reach people down the road. So I reached a guy down the road. So now there's 2 people, I know their names for sure, that are just down the road from me. But normally, and I keep track in my book, and I'm starting to really keep a log of where I reach. And when I look back, I'm still surprised. Like I reached Washington State. And most often I'm reaching Florida and Texas and the southern states. I've reached New York, which is hilarious. Those CB guys, some of them are pretty intense. They're hilarious. So having a conversation.
So that must be, hundreds of miles. But could you give us an idea on what sort of distance?
Yeah, it's got to be. Well, it would be a 20-hour drive. So it'd be lots of miles because the signal will bounce up and come back down, right? So that's skip. We call it skip relay. So, and a lot of people think you can only do that on ham radio. Literally, I'll show you my radio. It's super small. A lot of people think, oh, I need this big getup. This is for what most people would use, what most truckers would use in their truck. I don't know if it'll show it because, there it is. It's probably hard to show it. Yeah, so a little radio, and you simply, let's see if I can get it on camera. Yeah, you just plug in the 2 spots here. Yeah.
So you've got like an aerial port. So with regards to an aerial, what sort of aerial would you need?
You mean antenna?
Oh, it's an antenna, is it? No.
Yes, I'm not sure what you mean by aerial, but antenna I put up myself. There's different types of antennas, especially for this. So even if someone was going to set up new, sometimes the shop that is selling it will guide you through the process, what is best. But mine is about 35 feet up, and I did it myself. Like I bought some fence posts. I got the guys at the shop to chop them in half. I was putting them inside each other. Then I propped it up and clamped my antenna on it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to kill myself doing this, but I survived. I prayed really hard that I wouldn't fall or break my neck doing it, but I did it. And it's a matter of just plugging in. I have a little power box, so it kind of converts I don't know all the technical, my guys on my network know all the technical stuff, but you can't just plug it in the wall. It needs a special type of electricity running through it, I guess.
I've got my cat is crying at the door.
Oh,
but,
I don't know what.
I think we were, before we got interrupted there, I think we were talking about the CB radio and the sort of range. And it sounds like a really good backup plan, for if the worst case scenario does happen, that you've got that ability still to be able to communicate.
One of our most exciting nights as a network was we hit one evening where I was able to talk to one of our network people in Saskatchewan and in Alberta and in BC. So I hit all west of me in one night, and we recorded it. I think the only person we didn't get, you could hear me talking to the other people, and the guy in BC was recording it. I didn't get a chance to record it from my end, where you could hear all 3 provinces talking to me.
Oh, wow.
And, it all depends on skip conditions, the sun, the sky, the universe, what's going on, where you're going to hit. And yesterday when I talked to the guy down the road, right after we finished talking, he was talking to somebody in Alabama, and he's just down the road from me, and I couldn't hear the person he was talking to. So it's really interesting how it works. It's not like a phone. It's not like, having a powerful FM radio station like the radio DJs get, right? We're limited with that, but at least it's something. At least we're getting message out, and we can also make arrangements if needed to hide each other, take care of each other, feed each other. I want to get more farmers on board. We have one farmer kind of committed to that too. especially they're shutting down farms and yeah, and what if they have the global currency? If we're not signing up to that, we got to figure out a way to take care of each other. So.
But it does sound like you're building up a community, that's looking out for each other there with that little CB radio network that you've got going there.
Yeah, that's the main focus. And we started with just in, having for Canadian, but we have a regular member who lives in Oregon State in the U.S., and there is a couple more that are U.S. We're reaching Europe on our CBs. Now, I haven't yet, but some of my other people, if they're right on the coast, it's easier for them to reach Europe or Australia or Hawaii. So we're inviting everyone to be part of it because, if stuff is going on in Canada and there is a media blackout and if there's all sorts of things going on, we can get out what's really going on with us, or we can hear about what's going on with somebody like you or somebody in France or wherever.
I think it does sound excellent because you could actually get a global network together and still be able to communicate and find out what's actually going on in the world, especially if there's media blackouts and things like that. So I think it does sound like a really exciting project, and I think it is a good thing if perhaps more people could get involved.
Yeah, and I have some extra administrators. One person had his own CB business for years and years and years, so he is the expert that I drive crazy all the time. Because, I call things thingies and, this thingy and that, how does that work? He goes, I told you this before. Like, tell me again. Explain this to me. Yeah. And another one, I have two administrators, and my third administrator is my fiance, and he used to have to rely on CB when he was running back in the day 150-mile trap lines. So to keep his guys safe along those trap lines, they could communicate to each other. So he knows a lot about that. He's getting his set up. He's just waiting for some more equipment, and he'll be set up soon. And he's in the southern U.S. So it is really, really cool. Like, it's fun. And even the free speech aspect of it, you don't have to be guarded. And you can kind of just say whatever. Not that we really want to hog up the channel with a long conversation. But in the state where my fiance is, he says there's like 40,000 people that have CBs there because they're in the hills and forests, and their internet and their cell phones are not very reliable at all. Right. So that's how they get to communicate, especially if there's tornadoes or floods and things like that. So it's quite a tight community. Yeah.
I think it's, people don't realise how much they, rely on the internet and, mobile phones as a form of communication. And I think it's only, once they stop working, or if, you have an issue with them, then you think, I wish I'd got a CB so I could find out what's going on. So, for people listening, it's something I recommend probably investing in and, speaking to other people and get those communities built up so that people, if there is situations, people that can at least talk to each other and form a plan and actually stay safe, sort of thing.
It is very much for safety, and I'm hoping the network will grow. I keep trying to get the word out. But, and eventually I'm hoping to appoint actual captains as well as the administrators. So if we have a lot of people in Alberta, then there would be a captain in Alberta. If we're having a lot of members in the U.S., maybe one per state. I mean, that's my long-term goal. We had a wild influx of first-time members, and then it kind of plateaued for a while. And, some people in the network were, thinking that is somehow a failure. And I said, no, this is actually good. Because if we had all of a sudden an influx of 5,000 or 10,000 members, none of us we wouldn't have formed that foundation as a network and really gotten to know each other, us as core members, and to be able to build that. So I said, no, let's be thankful that it hasn't. had a wild growth as a network, but I think we're ready for a new spurt of growth. And some people come and go, and then they come back and they rethink it. Some of the CBers have left because they think they imagine it's something different. They think it's like a CB club, and it's not. It's about, even right now, we don't need to rely on our CBs to relay emergency messages, but even now, if I was seeing something unusual here, I can rely on this network and say, hey, are you guys seeing this happen, or what's going on, and things like that, that maybe we wouldn't have otherwise. It's bringing communities together. My dog is deciding to chew on the most strangest things. And I gave him a fresh marrow bone that I boiled for him, and he's not interested. What is wrong with you? Let me talk.
Is it a big dog or a small dog?
It's just, it's sort of medium. That's Mr. Murphy. There you go.
Lovely dog.
He is.
Very
he's chewing on everything here.
Yeah.
So I'll pet him while we're talking, I guess.
And because you're in Canada, it's not very often I get to speak to people in Canada, and I'm just wondering, is there any sort of restrictions going on still in Canada?
I think in hospitals and things like that, there is some probably weird restrictions about visitors, and for the nurses too, in nurse, and for the elderly people that all live together in those homes, they have to have all their shots. So
right.
I'm in the community a lot. I see how that has been affecting them. Our healthcare system is as bad as your healthcare system. Not enough nurses, not enough doctors. Lots of newcomers to our country.
Do they have to wear the masks still in the hospitals? Is that all still going on?
Probably in different provinces, it could be different. I haven't really kept up with that. But, you hear rumblings. I think it's more about rehiring the nurses back. There's a nursing shortage, and they won't hire these unvaccinated nurses back. Yeah. But other than that, for me as a regular person, no. No one's wearing masks. There's no restrictions. You'll see the odd person in a mask, but
yeah, I think
not so much
it
anymore.
Sounds pretty similar sort of thing going on over here. I know in the hospitals and the doctors, they're still very insistent that you have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Although it's not mandatory. You just say no.
Okay, good.
But a lot of people don't like confrontation, so a lot of people just go along with it, sort of thing, in the hospital. But I think it's important, if you don't want to wear one, just say no, and it's a very powerful thing to do.
Yeah, I never wore one at all. So when it became like a rule, they had to send me home for 3 days to figure out what they were going to do with me because I was refusing to wear a mask.
Oh, right.
And then on Twitter, all of a sudden, a Canadian lawyer DM'd me, "You need some help?" I said, "I might." So I was able to get, before they put a restriction on doctors' notes and doctors' exemptions and stuff like that, I was able to get a non-note, as I call it. My naturopathic doctor, she says, "I would love to write you a mask exemption note, but the government doesn't allow me to do it." So I took that non-note and handed it into my workplace. And then there was big shutdown. So I was the only one going into work, and there was no issue there for a while until we reopened. And then there was building inspectors that would be issuing fines. And I'm like, all I had to do is just pray every day. It was very stressful. It was really stressful to go through that, yeah.
But it does sound, now things have eased off, and I think the danger is a lot of people have thought, well, it's all over now, we've gone back to normal. But
hardly. No. You know it,
No.
yes. They're just getting ready for round 2. It's coming.
I think you could be right,
Yeah.
and especially when they're looking at sort of edging away from the cash system and pushing
Yeah.
us towards these, like you say, centrally controlled digital currencies that the
Yeah.
banks control. I think it does pose a very dangerous precedence, if they do that for freedom, because they'll control everything then.
Yes, exactly. So I already decided I'm not signing up. So this is probably one of the reasons too. Well, if I'm going to be not signing up for the digital currency, the government currency, then I'm going to be stuck anyways. I might as well put my face out there, and maybe this will be more helpful if I do that. If
So
I'm more out there.
in Canada, is it sort of like being pushed ahead? The
There's lots of talk about it, but I think Britain is one step ahead of us in that regards. Yeah. And
Yeah,
for all the
yeah,
research I've been doing, my attention is maybe feels like sometimes only 25% Canadian. And I'm kind of looking at the overview of everything that's going on. I really wish you wouldn't chew on the buckets. You hear him chewing? Can you go
I
get
can
your
hear little
bowl?
footsteps every now and then when he's walking around.
Yeah,
he's-
that too.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. But no, I think, is there anything in particular you wanted to talk about just before we look to wrap up? I mean, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, what, besides the digital currencies, what do you think is the biggest threat to freedom at the moment?
Well, they're shutting down free speech more and more, right? What we can or can't say. There's a real attack on churches, pastors, Christianity, burning down churches here with nothing being said or nothing to stop it. I think that will get worse. It will, when it happens, how quick it happens, but it's going to happen. And whether there's going to be escalated war, Canada will be affected, whether directly affected, who knows. But the longer that this gets drawn out with NATO and Russia, the more severe it will be, the more countries will be involved when it does finally just unleash. China definitely will somehow be involved, the BRIC nations. And yeah, I think we're headed that way. They'll find any excuse to shut us down, shut down our internet. I don't know, kind of like be prepared for the worst. And if it doesn't happen,
I think that is sound advice, just be prepared, because the more people that are prepared, the more we can get through it. And like you say, having these backup plans, whether it be CB radios or just building a local community of people that you can actually speak to and help each other out when things get difficult.
Yeah, I have some names locally too. Like, some of us women just kind of, we're on the same page. Surprisingly, a lot of people aren't aware of what goes on. Even a simple thing like when you go to the grocery store, why do we have to pay for bags? And why is this change and that change? And you talk to people and say, well, it's because of ESG scores. And they're not up with the little changes that are going to have big impact. And the scoring system for companies that is already in place with the currency is going to be even worse for citizens. There's going to be that Chinese scoring system that they have. And if you don't score high enough and you don't obey and submit to the authority, you're going to be kind of lost. And people in China, they weren't prepared for that. It's not like they have, they might have some secret networks. I'm sure they do. They have secret underground churches and secret communities just to survive. But why not be better prepared with a radio system as well?
Definitely. Yeah.
Because you can get that out. This is happening in this community. Oh yeah, we have each other. But what, we're going to all die together because we didn't get our message out? Someone needs to know the truth of what's happening, and it's really hard to find the truth of it.
Definitely. What I'm going to do, because you've got quite a few different links, I'm hoping if you could sort of like drop me your links to your
Yeah.
social media and your Telegram, and then what I will do when I get this video out, I'll put all of your links in that description so that people can find you. You know, if they want to find out more, or
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm sure there might be some people interested in getting CVs and having that as a backup system as well. So,
Yeah. And two
that'd be
things I
great.
want to emphasize with CB: it's easy, you don't need a license, and you do have a far reach. You know, you get your antenna, the higher you get your antenna, the farther you can reach, you know, and it's insane how, like, all of a sudden you just pick it up and I'm talking to Texas. So it works, you know, and I didn't need to have training. You just turn it on and key up and talk in the microphone.
Okay, so there's no sort of like special language that you have to use.
No, there's some channels there that are more common. So we're on channel 38, and channel 35 is going to be one that what's called the Flipside CB network. So us Flipsiders will try and specifically target if there is an emergency, but we'll use any channel to get a hold of each other. No, it's not like ham. Ham, you have to be licensed, so the government then knows and is interfering in your radio. Whereas CB, the government doesn't know where I'm located, where my radio is. I can quickly hook it up into my car with a car antenna and take off and still have my CB. So there's a lot of freedom, free speech with that, and extra protection for my safety as well.
Okay, yeah, that's something I didn't sort of like think about, because I was thinking these CBs, you know, they'd just be located in your home, but you can put them in vehicles as well. I'm gathering.
My second setup, I want to have one dedicated for home and then one already set up in my vehicle. So I just had to save up a little bit for that.
Yeah. How much for a basic setup? Say somebody from the UK wanted to sort of like get involved in CB radios. How much?
I mean, anyone could go to. You could go to pawn shops or buy used. So that's out there. Whether you're going to get a good radio out of it or one that really works, but you could probably find one really cheap that people are getting rid of. Sadly, they shouldn't be, or maybe they're upgrading or something like that. But I bought all brand new from a store here in Canada. They mailed it to me, and I'm rural, so it was great. But I think I spent between $800 and $1,000 Canadian with all like the, you know, I needed some. It's more than just the radio. I got one of the best coax cables, and you know, I needed a little power thing, and my antenna is a good antenna.
Okay, yeah,
so at the most
like,
$1,000, but you could probably set up for $100, $200.
As little as that, so it doesn't have to be a major expense.
No, because there's all kinds of used stuff out there, and people could probably go around pawn shops, and at least they would have something. Maybe it's not the best one, but it's something to start with, at least to try. I just decided to save up and just go all out, brand new and stuff.
Yeah. And then you're going to have a reliable piece of equipment, hopefully. You know, should you need to fall back on it, it's there, and you know it's going to work. So, yeah, that should be good. And I mean, I'm hoping, you know, there isn't this big media shutdown. I'm hoping, you know, there isn't a communications blackout. But at the moment, you just don't know what's going to happen next.
But so much of our free speech is already shut down. There's so many things we can't say, and that we're self-censoring already, just automatically. We don't realize we're self-censoring until I'm on CB, and I'm like, I literally could just say anything crazy right now. You know? And so there was one time I started to say, yeah, you know, I was telling some people about it, and not everyone is. I thought, you know, I assume that there's more people that are like-minded. But one guy was arguing with me and starting to swear at me, and the guy from Texas was being a Southern gentleman, and he was sticking up for me. So it was quite the battle there that I had started on the radio, and it was a really good discussion, though. I wanted maybe people to think, can we use our CBs a little bit for something a little more elevated rather than just saying hi bye on our CB, where we can start to talk and start to see if maybe there's a way we can fix our countries instead of just watching them burn to the ground.
Well, that's it, definitely. I mean, it is all about, looking at ways that we can sort of like improve the situation, I think. And if you can sort of like do it that way, it's another avenue for people to explore, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. You should say something about you instead of it just talking about
you. I'm boring, really.
No, you're not boring.
I thought it was, it's nice to have a guest on, because, I don't normally do this, but it's great to have somebody on like you, and it's been a real privilege having you here, because, it takes up your time as well. So I do really appreciate you jumping on and speaking with me today. So, thanks a lot for coming on, and I hope you keep building that community, which could one day be a lifeline, really.
Yes, I'm hoping it is a lifeline. I have a Twitter friend, and he is deaf, and he says, well, I can't be part of your network. I said, darn tootin', you're being part of our network. You're going to be under my wing and Everett's wing. That's my fiance. So we gave him all the contact information directly with my fiance if anything ever went wrong. So we're keeping an eye out for each other ahead of time. So even people, because how can he be on CB? He can't hear it. He's completely deaf there. So the network can be more than just CBs. It is more than just CBs. It's watching out for each other in emergencies or if anything goes wrong. Just being there for each other. And people know they can DM me anytime, pray for me, this is going wrong, that's going wrong, I need this, I need a job, I need a new home. So, already building that base already of trust. Yeah.
Great stuff. Thanks again. And I'll drop those links below for people that want to find out more. So goodbye from the UK, and have a great day, whatever you're doing. And,
I gotta clean the house now. This big house back here, it's such a disaster. The maid took the day off. Oh my.
Okay, thanks for speaking with me. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
Hopefully we can probably speak again soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Let's do that. Bye.
Okay. Bye.